Every once in a while, a woman is born whose strength and love can change the stars for an entire family. My grandmother is such a woman, and this is her story. Her and her twin brother were born December 1st, 1946, to a bartender and a waitress in Dayton, Ohio.
We were born at my grandma's house, and my grandma and my aunt delivered us.
When my grandmother was 4 years old, her parents left for Michigan, but left her brother and her behind in Ohio.
I went to Greenville, Ohio. My brother and I did, and I remember living with some foster parents that took us in, and we were there for 2 years. I really enjoyed it. I remember getting a new bike for my birthday and Christmas. I don't remember seeing my parents for 2 years.
After 2 years, her foster family wanted to adopt her. Despite their efforts, her mother wouldn't allow the adoption, and she was returned to her parents in Michigan. The family moved often until finally settling in Bath, Michigan when my grandmother was in the 8th grade.
I got to be a teenager. I always had to babysit, try to make money. I even had to babysit for my sister. I had a sister that came along 12 years after I did. And it was like I was always the mom to her. I just started to kind of grow up fast. I think. That's how I felt. I was growing up too fast because I was mostly out on my own, working. I had been babysitting since I was 12 years old, making money, and started to do my own cooking and stuff like that. Learning there at home. Had to do that for my sister and I, and my brother. And like I say, school was very hard. When my brother was 14, he was kicked out because he tried to help my dad's car, and my dad didn't appreciate it. I just think my dad was a little bit kind of jealous, maybe, and my dad was not close to my brother and I at all when my sister came. We were in a way.
My grandmother's brother moved in with a boy down the street they had met at a Halloween party, who turned out later to be her future husband, Herman. When she was 16, he proposed.
And Herman told my mother, he says, "I love your daughter very much and I would love to marry her." And she started crying. And he says, "She needs to have a better life than this, and she can finish school. I promise she'll finish school." And I was married April in 1963. So that was a different life for me entirely, very much. We ended up getting a little house, renting a little house, and I found out that I was pregnant then, and things didn't work out for me for the first 5 years. I had very bad complications. Um, but I did get pregnant on our 5th anniversary. It was really a joyful time having her. It was like we were more than mother and daughter. It was like we were best of friends.
In the summer of 1970, Herman passed away in a tragic swimming accident in a local dam. Shortly after, my grandmother gave birth to her son, whom she named after her brother. She raised her 2 children alone for the next 7 years before marrying the man I've always known as Grandpa.
My kids were my life, and I did not go back to high school because they were just I was happy. When I had my 2 kids, I always said that I would make sure that they'd be in the same house, the same school, and that they would graduate. And I stuck to it because that's what happened.
In spite of anything bad that has ever happened to my grandma, she remains the strongest, most optimistic, encouraging, and loving person I've ever met. When I asked her how she felt about her life, she replied,
that I had a wonderful life, or it's been a wonderful life.